Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk branding. We're going to talk 8 powerful lessons that are packed into this little guy, the elf on the shelf. And these are lessons that you can apply back to your own business or your own career, even if you don't really think of yourself as a business, if you are employed and not doing really your own entrepreneurial thing. You can still take these strategies to help advance your career. So I'm Marjorie Stiegler, I'm a physician, and I have about a decade of digital and online marketing experience in a non-medical realm. So distinct from that. And I do try to bring it back and help other doctors learn how to apply these strategies. But really today, it doesn't matter what discipline you're in, this can be helpful to you to understand the powerful branding strategies contained, all packed into this little guy, the elf on the shelf. All right, let's get right into it. So number 1, elf on the shelf, memorable. Number 1 is memorable. If you go to the toy store, if this even catches your eye, you don't come home and tell your spouse, yeah, there was this nifty toy I saw. I can't quite remember what it's called. It's memorable, maybe because it rhymes, maybe because it's short and clever, but either way, memorable, super important. You need to be memorable. Number 2, it builds on something we already know. Can you imagine how cumbersome it would be if instead of the elf on the shelf, they tried to describe what the elf is and then let you know that he's hanging out on the shelf? But everyone knows, or at least if you are celebrating Christmas, right, caveat, the elf on the shelf. You know what an elf is, Santa's helper, right? You know what elf normally is in Santa's workshop. What on earth is it doing on a shelf? You know what a shelf is. So it's very clear what this is because they're not trying to describe what an elf is. They're building on something we already know to introduce something brand new that we do not know, elf on the shelf. So memorable, clear, that's 1 and 2, leading right into 3, which is, it is all just wrapped up in so much curiosity. I do know what an elf is. I certainly have some shelves and I know what those are, so I know what it is, but why is it? Why is the elf on the shelf? What's it doing there? What is the backstory? What am I supposed to do with it? There's so much that you kind of want to know, so you're drawn in. And once people have that interest and you're drawn in, then you're not trying to kind of push out your message anymore. People are coming to you to be interested in what it is. What is this elf on the shelf? Well, that's the 3rd thing, is that curiosity factor, and it leads us right into, if I read the box, check it out, it's a Christmas tradition. It's a Christmas tradition. Now, I'm a little late to the party here. We just got our elf this year, and the elf launched in 2005. But I'll tell you, when the elf first launched and you say it's a Christmas tradition, how on earth is it a Christmas tradition? It was for the family that formed this company, but it's not for anybody else, at least not in my generation. We didn't have, we have a tree, we have stockings, we didn't have an elf. So hearing that it is a tradition, again, makes me curious because it's sort of like opposites. That doesn't really make sense to me. I want to learn more. And the other thing that it does is it instills this sort of socialness about it, right? Well, if it's a tradition, we don't want to be the only ones who aren't doing it, right? It's that fear of missing out, that sort of FOMO, and that social proof. Because as you know, when you buy the elf, you're invited to go on their website, register your elf's name and where you live, and you join a community. So it's not just a doll and it's not just a book. It's sort of a community. It's a social thing online and probably in your neighborhood or with your friends or among their friends. So that's the other one, is to know that it is sort of a social thing, right? It's not just, successful brands are not just stuff. There's a social aspect to it. The other thing about the elf that is really consistent with all of your big major brands is he's sort of steeped in emotion, right? I mean, the activity around the elf is so much more important than the actual elf and even the book, right? It's the anticipation. Where's the elf going to be this morning? Where is he going to go? How is he going to show up? And that added weeks of buildup prior to Christmas. So it is emotion. All of the major brands, when you think about it, are trying basically to sell you a way of feeling. They want you to feel special. They want you to feel smart. They want you to feel luxurious. They want you to feel efficient, and whatever it is, whether it's the latest electronic gadget or like the best paper towels, they're trying to give you a feeling of goodness. And joy and fun is a feeling of goodness, and that is what the elf is all about. It's all packed in right here, elf on the shelf. All right, the 6th thing to know about and the importance of branding is that it is not an overnight kind of thing. So you can establish your brand today, but in order for people to have some awareness, it takes a little bit of time. And that's why people who are on social media trying to build awareness around their businesses or awareness around just even their own professional expertise. It doesn't happen overnight. Do not be discouraged. Every single publisher that this family submitted this book to, and as of last year, they have sold 11 million of these. Every single publisher rejected it. So it's not an overnight success. They rejected it. So the first couple years were hard. They worked hard. They were dedicated. They were determined. And it shows the importance of perseverance, and that overnight successes never, ever are. The other thing is, it shows the importance of influencers and leveraging influencers, getting in front of and leveraging influencers. You know, the Elf on the Shelf really took off in 2007 when Jennifer Garner was photographed walking around with the Elf on the Shelf box. And suddenly now the stores were interested, the publishers were interested, and Elf on the Shelf really, really took off. You might think to yourself, well, but Jennifer Garner isn't going to be talking about me or my business or my expertise or you know, my academic department. No, she's not. But there is an equivalent, no matter what your career, no matter what industry, no matter sort of how dry you might think or academic you might think your career is, there is an equivalent of an influencer. It's important to know that certain people and certain relationships that you can develop can really help your career to leapfrog and really take off in a way that it wasn't before. So the final thing about the Elf on a Shelf that is important to take note is the benefits of a sales funnel. So if you don't know what a sales funnel is, you don't need to know unless you're trying to run a business, I guess. But a sales funnel means, in a nutshell, that there's something to do. There's something more to do. I bought my elf and I've got my book. I didn't know I could also get a girl elf. You can get multiple elves. You can get one for all your kids. You can get new clothes for the elf. You can get pets for the elf. There's so much more to do. So once you bought your elf, you are in and you can continue to do more and more and more stuff. So that just shows the benefits of powerful branding. If you're going to be so successful and sell 11 million elves, you may as well have these community now, right, of people who are really, really into this new tradition that you've basically established it just by telling people that it is a tradition, because it wasn't before. Now it is. You've made it so. You've almost manifested it into being. Once you have an engaged community who's really into this tradition and they're into the elf, then yeah, you should give them something else to do, because they don't want to just stop at buying the elf. They're interested and excited and look forward to what's going to be new this year around Elf on a Shelf. So there it is, 8 important branding lessons from Elf on a Shelf. I will summarize right now. It's got to be memorable. Elf on the Shelf is easy to remember. It's got to be clear what it is. Elf on the Shelf is very, very clear. You know exactly what it is. It's got to provoke curiosity. So Elf on the Shelf, I know what it is, but why is it? And what am I supposed to do with it? And it is a tradition, right? So that's the social aspect of it. You want to build a community, not just a thing. So you want people to be engaged, either with you, with your community, with something that is bigger than just one transaction or one product or one speech or one whatever it is. You want to be sure that there's something more that can go on in a social way. And linked to this is, of course, their encouragement that you take your pictures and share them on social media. So that is also another social element of this tradition, right? That they just told you it was, and now it is. All right, emotion, right? This really ups the ante for joy and happiness and anticipation. It gives you something to really take that pre-Christmas excitement and take it to a whole new level. And that is what makes people love it so much, because otherwise, I mean, it's not that amazing, no offense, of a doll, right? It's what the doll is about, not what it is. So emotion. Then remember that they did not have overnight success. They worked hard, they had perseverance, they didn't give up, everyone rejected them, but they continued to work and believed in themselves and believed in the brand and pushed forward. Until number 7, an influencer came along and really catapulted them up. Taking advantage of those opportunities and being ready when it happens is really, really important for you in your career, and to understand and appreciate the role that influencers play, really regardless of your industry, regardless of your business type. And then number 8, just the benefits of having something else to do. So once people have engaged with you, maybe they've asked you to come give a talk, maybe they have hired you into their department because they know you're really good at one particular thing. Just don't peter out at the end right there. Make sure you have more than one thing to offer, so that people who are already interested, already engaged, can continue to engage, and you can continue to do great work, and you can continue to serve the audience that's most interested in what you have to bring to the table by doing your best job for the people who most enjoy it. Those are some great brand lessons all packed in to the itty bitty elf on the shelf. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to learn more about branding, you can join my webinar tomorrow. It's at 2 p.m. If you guys are catching the replay of this, the webinar is on the 18th of December, 2 p.m. Eastern time. If you scroll through my feed here, you'll find a registration, and we'll be talking branding. So come join if you are interested in that. And otherwise, happy holidays to everybody, and happy branding.